Kenya and Kazakhstan have signed several bilateral agreements aimed at deepening diplomatic and economic ties. Also in the broadcast, Jubilee Party defends Uhuru Kenyatta. All that coming up on Prime Edition, but first, the highlights. Violence against women. Civil society organizations express outrage calling for urgent government interventions. Relief for commuters as public service vehicle operators suspend strike over high fuel prices. Plus, Kenya heightens border surveillance as Ebola fatalities rise to 139. Good evening and a very warm welcome to Prime Edition. I am Muchuma Odim, standing in for my colleagues John Jacob Kuria and Doreen Arange. Our sign language expert tonight is Lucy Mwaura. Talk to us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 at KBC Digital. Straight to our lead story, a section of civil society organizations has raised concerns on the increased cases of femicide and violence against women and girls in the country, calling on immediate government intervention. The lobby groups led by the Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, are now demanding that the government declare the gender-based violence, including femicide, a national disaster. They further called on government to provide a status report on the implementation of the recommendations proposed by the Presidential Task Force led by Dr. Nancy Baraza, especially those focused on ending GBV and femicide. They also urged President William Ruto to establish and operationalize a GBV fund to support survivors.
Femicide and violence against women and girls in Kenya has reached a crisis level and requires immediate action from the national and from national interventions. We cannot stand by and watch as women and girls continue to suffer such violence. We are deeply troubled by the daily reports of women being killed in very horrific ways in our country. Some have been assaulted, some have been murdered, some attacked with corrosive chemicals, others dismembered, and some bodies discarded without dignity.
Reports from Amnesty Kenya International, that is in April 2026, show that at least 8 femicide cases are reported each week. This means that about 1 woman or girl is killed every day.
The Constitution of Kenya 2010 guarantees the right to life, equality, freedom from the discrimination, dignity, personal security, and access to justice. Even though there are strong laws like the Sexual Offences Act of 2006, the Protection Against Domestic Violence Act of 2015, these laws are not being enforced well.
Our demands for the next 40 days: 1, declare gender-based violence, including femicide, a national crisis. In this, we call on President to declare GBV, including femicide, a national crisis and give it an urgent attention it deserves.
Kenya and Kazakhstan have signed 8 bilateral agreements aimed at deepening diplomatic and economic cooperation between the two nations. The deals were signed during President William Ruto's state visit to Kazakhstan Wednesday, where he held talks with his host president, Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, at the Palace of Independence in Astana. This report was compiled by Kamche Menza.
President William Ruto, who has been on official state visits in the wider Eurasia region, on Wednesday visited Kazakhstan. During his tour of the Central Asian nation, President Ruto and his host, President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, termed partnerships between the two nations as mutually beneficial. Kenya as Kazakhstan's gateway to East and Central Africa, while Kazakhstan opens way for Kenya to Central Asia and the wider Eurasian region.
And has invited Kazakhstan to establish Nairobi as a strategic base for its operations on the continent while utilizing the ports of Mombasa and Lamu.
We also discussed the issue of delivering Kenyan products to Eurasian countries via Kazakhstan.
The two leaders witnessed the signing of bilateral deals in ICT and e-government services, agriculture, transport and infrastructure, finance, tourism, climate action, mining, and exploration and space technology.
We agreed to continue advocating for climate justice, fair access to climate financing, and reforms to the international financial architecture so that developing countries like Kenya can access financing on fair.
During the visit, President Ruto was awarded Kazakhstan's prestigious Order of Dostik, meaning Friendship First Degree, in recognition of his efforts to strengthen relations between the two countries. Later, President Ruto toured the Kazakhstan Space Center, the Alem AI Center, and attended a business forum at the Astana International Financial Center.
Beyond maritime routes, we should bridge distances through aviation. Kazakhstan's open skies policy creates excellent incentives for global careers.
When you mentioned to me earlier that you buy most of your flowers from Amsterdam in Netherlands, I told you those flowers actually come from Kenya. And we see a bigger opportunity by establishing direct connectivity between Astana and Nairobi.
Kenya and Kazakhstan have had diplomatic economic relations dating back to 1993. In his Eurasian tour, President Ruto also visited Azerbaijan. Kamche Menza for Prime Edition.
From bilateral ties back home to developments after the strike that paralyzed operations across the country. Now, following the one-week suspension of the public service vehicle strike over fuel price increase, the Nairobi Central Business District is back in its usual buzz. The temporary truce between the government and the public transport sector players has relieved Kenyans, business owners, drivers and commuters alike, despite the adjustments made to cope up with the reality.
Nairobi Central Business District. For 2 days, these public vehicle termini were deserted, leaving commuters stranded. On Wednesday, the engines are fired up and public service vehicles are once again filled with passengers. Public transport operators aim to recover losses incurred.
Before mafuta ipande, sikuwa nakosa 1,500, 1,000. Saa hii ni bahati tu nikipata 200 na shukuru.
Hizo siku mbili ambazo zimepita, imagine hata kukula imekuwa ni shida, because nikikuja kazi ndio napata riski, lakini sipokuja basi inakuwa shida.
A section of operators have hiked fares by at least 50 shillings, while the others are bearing the cost of the fuel price hike.
Abiria wako lakini bado wanalia tu, wengine watembea mguu, wale watu tunabeba wachache ndio tunabeba tu.
Unapata unaenda distance refu sana na ni ile tu fare. So mgomo haijatusaidia palipopote ile.
Clients wamenipotoka wengi sana. Kwa hizo siku mbili, unajua hasa kama si kwa hizo siku mbili, unajua kuna watu tena wa stima. Sasa ndo unajua au pia wanakuja kutunyakua bado.
The repercussions of the recent changes in fuel prices have hit more than the transport sector.
Kama duka hii tumesimama mbele yake, inakuwaga na wateja wengi sana, lakini hata saizi ukiangalia hata kuna customer mmoja anapatikana hapa ndani.
Hatujaweza hit the target ya kulipa hiyo rent. Pia wakazi wetu hatujaweza kuwalipa, bado tutawalipa na bado watatukuwa kazi.
Tutagoja hiyo wiki moja walisema, ama siku 7. Kama watasikizana ni sawa, kama watasikizana tutajua vile kutaenda.
As the days count down to the ultimatum issued by the PSV and other transport operators, the stakes remain high.
Onto a story compiled by Yusuf Farah, newly sworn in National Cohesion and Integration Commission Chairperson Bishop Dr. Kefa Nyamweya-Omwae has pledged to serve Kenyans with integrity, courage and impartiality as the country navigates a heightened political period. Bishop Dr. Omwae spoke when he and 7 other members of the commission took oath of office, where he noted that Kenya still bears scars of ethnic and political division and that the national cohesion should be the norm and not guided by political seasons.
At the Supreme Court, the new chair at the helm of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission took oath of office alongside 7 commissioners.
I, Kefa.
One after the other, the commissioners pledged to serve without fear, favour or prejudice. In his maiden speech, Chairperson Dr. Kefa Omwae acknowledged the heightened political period, saying that now more than ever, national cohesion is critical.
When a citizen is attacked because of perceived political association, when a political leader is assaulted by organized groups, when communities are profiled, when public speech becomes reckless, these are not isolated matters. These are early warning signs that must be confronted.
Bishop Dr. Omwae further calling on Parliament to fast-track the enactment of the NCIC Act in a bid to strengthen the Commission's mandate.
We will do our best to unite the country at the national, county, and grassroots levels for sustainable peace.
Chief Justice Martha Koome urged the Commission to hit the ground running and address rising political tensions and concerns over ethnic division ahead of the 2027 general elections.
Our diversity must never again become a source of violence. Our diversity should never become a source of exclusion or a source of division.
To my fellow leaders, let us speak not to inflame, but to inspire. To our youth, let your energy be the engine of peace, not the weapon of division.
The other commissioners are Josephine Kirion, Joseph Nguyo, Jackson Swadi, Samuel Moshiro, Irene Chepisho, Hassan Bilo and Jerusalem Wadhime. The Kenya Law Reforms Commission also had its new commissioners, Mutula Kilonze Jr. and Annette Wangia, take oath of office at the same venue.
Climate control of excesses of we the political folk, climate control and constitutional protection, so that where there are any violations, we say it as it is.
Both NCIC and KLRC commissioners will serve for 6 years. Yusuf Farah reporting for Prime Edition.
Onto a story we highlighted for you at the beginning of the broadcast. 8 more suspected Ebola deaths have been reported in the last 24 hours, increasing the fatalities to 139. According to World Health Organization, 600 suspected cases have also been recorded. WHO Chief Dr. Tedros Adhanom on Wednesday said 51 cases have been confirmed in the Democratic Republic of Congo and 2 in Uganda. Here is that report.
Speaking to journalists in Geneva, World Health Organization Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said the 51 cases confirmed in Democratic Republic of Congo are in its eastern Ituri province, the epicenter of the outbreak, and the North Kivu province. Of the 2 cases confirmed in Uganda's capital, Kampala, 1 has succumbed. The first known case of the new Bundibugyo Ebola strain was a nurse who developed symptoms, among them fever, muscle pain, fatigue, headache and sore throat, and died on April 24, 2026 in Ituri's provisional capital, Bunia. 4 areas in Ituri, among them Mongwalu, Bunia, Rwampara and Nyakunde, have been affected by the outbreak. Health experts say there's no approved vaccine for the current strain, but experimental ones are in development. Kenya has heightened surveillance and screening at Busia one-stop border post and deployed a team of medics to screen travelers from the Great Lakes region. Kasi Chanamasha, Prime Edition.
14 minutes past the top of the hour, we are taking our first commercial break. Coming up, election preparedness exercise and Wednesday politics with the details and clarity you deserve. Stay with us.
Wakenya, ni wakati mwingine wa kuhakikisha kuwa umefile KRA returns. Je, uko rada una challenge yoyote? Usiwe na shaka. KRA wakishirikiana na KBC Channel 1 wanakuja hapo ulipo kusaidia kufile returns na kulipia ushuru wako. Jiunge na msafara wa KRA Roadshow, uwe fiti mambo ya returns. Katika eneo la Malindi Mei 21. Msafara wetu utaanzia Malindi Airport, soko la mitumba, Shela ndogo Maskrepa, Malindi Stage Kuu, Gede, Watamu, Tezo, Pwani University, Mavueni, kisha tumalizie Mtwapa sokoni. Tarehe 30 Juni kwa mlangoni. Usingoje hadi dakika za mwisho. File KRA returns mapema. Ishi bila stress. Jijue, jibeta. KRA, tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
Nairobi, your time is now. Masani ya kutoka blog na KBC imeamua lazima uomoke. Tutakuwa tunakaa mtaa yako kukuomosha very fast. Jibu maswali zangu 3 tuone kama kweli wewe ni true fan wa KBC Channel 1. Na ukizipata 25k ni yako. So make sure una watch KBC Channel 1. Alafu kinicheki kwa streets. Niulize kana kuomosha leo. Omoka na KBC Channel 1. Wanga bad ni mbaya.
Welcome back to Semana Spokes from Nagava.
Semana Spokes is the platform where Wananchi engage, query the government, and the government responds. It's your time to be informed. Don't miss Bonga Nagava every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
Semana Spokes.
Welcome back to Prime Edition. Talk to us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1, at KBC Digital. Onto a story we teased for you at the beginning of the broadcast. The Jubilee Party has defended former President Uhuru Kenyatta from any links to fuel protests across the country. The party took issue with remarks associated with the United Democratic Alliance Party Secretary General Hassan Omar, which seemed to suggest Uhuru had a hand in the strike, terming the allegations far-fetched and unfortunate. The party wondered why Uhuru continues to be singled out in political debates despite having left office peacefully after completing his 2 terms in office. Here is that report as compiled by Timothy Kipnoso.
Remarks made by the United Democratic Alliance Secretary General Hassan on Tuesday, allegedly linking the former head of state to the fuel protests, have not gone well with the Jubilee Party. Jubilee Deputy Party Leader Dr. Fred Matiang'i says it is sad and unfortunate to see a section of leaders launching an onslaught on the former president instead of addressing the challenges facing the nation.
We are not dumb. Tunaweza kuona clearly matamushi haya yanaelekea wapi. This kind of language where it is headed. Kusema iti kwa sababu wakati ule bei ya mafuta ilienda juu wakati Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta alikuwa rais, mbona hakukuwa na shida? Niko na jibu. Kwa sababu we were responsible leaders, sisi tuliongea na wananchi na tukawaheshimu. Kukiwa na shida na kukiwa na maneno kama hayo, tulikuwa tunaita hata private sector.
We have also seen a terrible and frightening issue occurring. Excuse of actually making one community be a scapegoat of anything or everything that's happening now. We are saying as Kenyans and as a party, we will not accept that. We have been there before. It almost destroyed this country, and we cannot let this country be destroyed again.
Matiang'i urged the leaders to stop the blame game, but to give much emphasis on matters at hand that is hurting the economy, particularly the hiking of fuel prices, which is making life difficult for many Kenyans.
After the 2022 elections, what do we see? An onslaught on Jubilee, an onslaught on Uhuru's family, vita, baada ya vita, wengine wanaenda kusema mpaka wanaharibu jina ya Mama Ngina Kenyatta. Now instead of the people in power addressing the issues that were being raised by Kenyans, Uhuru. Uhuru.
The leaders at the same time caution against politicizing national security matters, warning that if the trend continues, it may lead to anarchy.
I've never seen, for the time that I have been paying attention, I never knew a time when there was such resentment even within the security sector teams themselves. And how do we know, ordinary citizens? Because now they are talking about it. Even politicization of deployment.
That level of trying to recruit people, kwa sababu hiyo ni serikali ina recruit watoto wetu kwa crimes. You cannot allow that to happen. When you have those kind of young people on, it doesn't scare me because they look like criminals. It's what is me as a father or a grandfather of what is happening to our young people.
They have proposed an urgent recall of National Assembly to address the critical matters affecting Kenyans at the moment.
We also demand the urgent recall of Parliament from recess to address the economic crisis and provide relief measures to Kenyans.
Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
In another language.
Now, as Kenya moves closer to the 2027 general election, the need for accurate, ethical, and safe election coverage is taking center stage. The Kenya Broadcasting Corporation has therefore partnered with the Friedrich Naumann Foundation to conduct a specialized training program targeting journalists expected to cover the polls. Here is that report as compiled by Tess Mutai.
The 3-day training brings together 90 journalists from radio, television and digital platforms, many of whom will be covering a general election for the first time. According to reports from the Media Council of Kenya, more than 75% of journalists expected to cover the 2027 elections have never covered an election before. Senior Project Manager at Friedrich Naumann Foundation, Judy Kaberia, says the program aims to strengthen professionalism, factual reporting and ethical journalism at a time when misinformation and disinformation continue to rise.
We are conducting this training at a very sensitive time when the world across, basically the media across the world is facing all kinds of challenges. And for Kenya specifically, we are going into an election year. Challenges of misinformation, disinformation, challenges of ethical journalism, challenges of factual reporting are all things that we have to look at.
KBC Editor-in-Chief Samuel Maina says the training is part of a wider roadmap to prepare journalists for every stage of electoral process, from campaigns and nominations to results coverage.
We have had an upsurge of younger people or younger reporters in both radio, TV, digital, who have never covered a general election. And that is why we sought the help of FNF in funding this training. Why? We need to prepare our teams into all areas related to coverage of general.
Journalists attending the training are also being equipped with safety and conflict-sensitive reporting skills such as for politically charged events.
This is the time to do sensitization so that you really ready in terms of the content that you're going to report, how you must know how to do it, and of course you must know how to appear, not to be aligned to any political formation, so that contributes to your safety.
Journalists are being sensitized on how to deliver political news coverage. For Prime Edition, I am Teresa Mutai.
From election coverage matters, let's now take you to the corridors of justice. The High Court of Kenya has delivered a defining judicial decision decriminalizing blanket consensual peer-to-peer relationships among adolescents. Justice Bahati Mwamuye ruled that urgent legislative review is required to halt the unjust incarceration of minors and fine-tune the nation's juvenile justice system. And as Ruth Omboy reports, the ruling calls for differentiating between exploitative sexual abuse and voluntary adolescent intimacy.
The High Court's judgment emphasizes the necessity of the best interest of the child principle, a cornerstone of both Kenyan law and international human rights conventions. The ruling mandates a paradigm shift with the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and the Police Service to evaluate the age proximity, power dynamics and element of consent before pursuing defilement charges involving two minors.
Because there are segments of this society that still oppose comprehensive sexuality education in schools. So we do not get the necessary education in schools. Out of school, it is ad hoc and it is not universal. So those who get it are better equipped.
Rights advocates had argued that treating adolescents as hardened sex offenders for peer relationship destroys educational prospects and places minors in detention facilities where they face genuine risk of abuse. The ruling responds to years of advocacy by human rights organizations like the Katiba Institute and the Center for Reproductive Health.
And where the policy then is in conflict with the today's judgment, then there has to be realignment of the policies as required by law.
Elsewhere, the High Court sitting in Kiambu has quashed the appointment of former Cabinet Secretary Aisha Jumwa as chairperson of the Kenya Roads Board.
In those circumstances, declaratory relief is plainly warranted to formally pronounce the legal invalidity of the impugned appointment and affirm the supremacy of the Constitution and the rule of law in the exercise of public authority.
However, the judge declined to invalidate all decisions and actions undertaken during Jumwa's tenure, saying such sweeping orders could disrupt decisions that may have served the public interest. The petition had been filed by human rights activist Francis Owino, who challenged the appointment of Jumwa.
That any fresh appointment process must be undertaken strictly in accordance with Section 7 of the Kenya Roads Board Act, the first schedule thereto, and the constitutional principles governing public appointments.
Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
Do you know what's inside that prepackaged food? Those unhealthy ultra-processed foods high in sugar, salt or unhealthy fats can lead to diseases.
According to the Ministry of Health, approximately 39% of all deaths in Kenya are as a result of non-communicable diseases such as obesity, diabetes, cancer and high blood pressure. The foods and drinks we consume every day can affect our health more than we realize.
Clear information on packages about what's in our food can help us have a healthy diet. From the Food Policy Coalition Kenya.
Looking for sisterhood, craving solidarity, ready for a space where every woman belongs? Then Dada's Show is the show for you. As we discuss real issues, support one another, and celebrate womanhood the Dada's Show way.
There's an opening for a crew chief. Your temper could be an issue, but your skills are good. And you're qualified. Do you want to try for it?
Actually, whether it passes or not is all the same to me.
Why do you need so much sleep? You'll just make yourself groggy. Forget it. I'll stop talking about that. You don't like to hear it. And if you do, you get mad. I'll take it myself. You can eat if you're hungry. Don't wait for me. Leave it there. Why's that? I'll take it. Okay, you go get changed. I'll cook some shrimp. You can eat it with Jean. No, do not push it, Mom.
Thank you for staying with us on Prime Edition, our socials at KBC Channel 1 at KBC Digital. Onto a big one now. Human resource departments in the country have been urged to build the capacity of their line managers and prioritize the welfare of their employees to achieve the set key performance indicators and goals. Institute of Human Resource Management Head of Corporate Affairs and Communication, Irene Kimasha, also urges employees to change their mindsets and focus on how to better contribute to the nation building.
The Kenya Broadcasting Corporation staff joined the rest of the world in commemorating the International Human Resource Day in a colorful event held within the Broadcasting House in Nairobi. Calls are made for human resource management departments in the country to ensure their employees are well motivated through capacity building, better remuneration, and taking care of the general welfare to achieve the desired results.
When you take care of your people, they will take care of your business. They will take care of everything else that needs to be done, happily so, and this institution is going to transform into a better organization.
KBC should be able to attract the best human resource, train the best human resource, and maintain human resource. Later, they exit in dignity.
Proposals the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation has pledged to implement to align its human resource management functions with this year's theme of empowering people to lead change.
We'll work hand in hand with the government institutions like SRC to ensure that the staff are paid on time and also ensure that there is equal pay for equal work and equal effort.
What HR needs from us is our support. And how do we support them? We support them by doing our work very well. We support them by ensuring that we follow the policies that are laid down to run this corporation.
Employees, on the other hand, have been encouraged to continue learning and develop themselves to remain relevant in the industry.
Any organization that is learning, that is the organization that is going to exist, the organization that is going to be able to survive in the future.
With the theme Empowering People to Lead Change, KBC joins the world in marking International Human Resource Day, citing and celebrating the Human Resource Department within the organization. Reporting for Prime Edition, I'm Michelle Mudeu.
All right, ahead of International HR Day, KBC had a series of activities in support of the HR departments, and these different days had different color codes. For instance, today it was business formal with a touch of orange. I got the memo, though a number of my colleagues here in the studio, especially the Arsenal fans, opted for the Arsenal jersey. We'll tell you details on that when we get to the sports news. But for now, in the world of business, hospitals will be required to calibrate their measuring equipment as the Kenya Bureau of Standards steps up its surveillance on medical gear. Kenya Bureau of Standards Managing Director Estangari says rising cases of misdiagnosis can be partly attributed to faulty equipment, hence plans for mandatory calibration. Here is that report.
A report by the Kenya National Union of Medical Laboratory Officers indicates that 3 out of 10 people seeking medical attention are misdiagnosed, with documented cases averaging 2,400 annually. The Kenya Bureau of Standards say the high numbers are due to faulty medical equipment. Kenya Bureau of Standards Managing Director Estangari says a handful of medical facilities have the measurement certification, with the majority yet to calibrate their medical equipment.
We want to make sure that for protection of the consumers, that the equipment which are used in our hospitals, it becomes a requirement that every medical facility calibrates its equipment.
The standards body is rolling out a public sensitization as it steps up surveillance efforts.
You are tested for temperature and you are told you have fever, and yet it is the machine that has been used, the equipment that has been used to check your body temperature that is not calibrated, and therefore it gives the wrong readings.
If you are sick, a doctor will come to you. First, will measure your pressure and will measure your temperature. There's some pressure, if you go beyond, you can't survive. So whatever is measuring that pressure, it must be well calibrated.
They were speaking during the celebration of Metrology Day, where traders and investors were encouraged to invest in quality and modern measuring equipment to conform with international standards.
For our products to find market out there, for our products to be accepted by other jurisdictions, we must enforce and ensure standards.
Benson Rioba, reporting for Prime Edition.
The government has lined up a series of crackdowns targeting those hawking milk as part of wider reforms in the dairy value chain. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says milk hawking is compromising food safety, especially as Kenya prepares to become a major dairy exporter.
Kenya is banking on a raft of reforms to double milk production in the short term and become a major regional dairy products exporter. Part of the reforms include stepping up crackdowns on milk hawking to formalize the subsector, enhance food safety and traceability of the Kenyan milk. Milk hawking is blamed for lower farm gate prices and earnings for farmers.
Farming is a business. Ukulima is not just an occupation, it is a business. People don't just go to farming for the sake of farming. They go to farming to make money and to make a living. And therefore, it must be managed in the same manner that you manage any serious business.
As part of efforts to boost milk production, the government has released 1.43 billion shillings for purchase and distribution of 230 milk coolers across the country to reduce post-harvest losses and support value addition.
Today we have flagged off 25. Altogether now we have got about 230 coolers above we have spread across the country.
Plans are also underway to increase distribution of high-quality subsidized semen to dairy farmers.
We had fixed it at a maximum of 1,500 from 9,000. The idea there is to increase the quality of the cow.
Benson Rioba, reporting for Prime Edition.
KCB Group reported 18.2 billion shillings in net profit during the first 3 months of this year. The profit was driven by an 8.5% rise in total operating income to 53.6 billion shillings, largely from interest-earning assets, offsetting a decline in net interest margins due to sustained rate cuts across East Africa.
KCB Group advanced 1.2 trillion shillings in net customer loans, up from 1.02 trillion shillings. From this, the lender netted 51.26 billion shillings in total interest income, marginally up from 50.1 billion shillings realized during the first 3 months of 2025. In addition, total other operating income increased from 15.72 billion shillings to 17.03 billion shillings. On the other hand, total operating expenses increased from 28.26 billion shillings to 29.21 billion shillings. This is despite reduction in staff cost and loan loss provisions. This is after the lender's gross non-performing loans reduced from 233.3 billion shillings to 217.7 billion shillings. Overall, the bank's total assets expanded 10.8% to 2.3 trillion shillings, driven by higher loans and advances. In addition, customer deposits rose 15.7% to 1.65 trillion shillings. KCB Chief Executive Officer Paul Russo attributes the result to disciplined execution, digital investments, and commitment to financing that drives a regional economic transformation. John Kahiro for Prime Edition.
Ukazichukua ukaenda ukazibadilisha namba na ukaanza kuziuza.
Ndio liibiwa?
Mimi bado ibiwa nduzi.
Kijana yako alikwambia liibiwa na nani?
Ngo yele sikuwa na pen. Na hii pen. Pen. Apiko.
Ndio tukapata wewe anatengeneza number plate, anabadilisha, anauza.
Tembea polepole na mwendo wa haste ukienda nyumbani.
How can pikipiki swim like a fish?
Ilienda kwa mtu ikaenda ikiduguruma tu.
Mzee,
bindu nilisema mvua inyeshe wakati ile uko kwa barabara.
Si wewe ulisema kwani wewe ni nyesaye, ubenyesao wale mburi.
Wewe wahitaji watatu ili kukamilika. Mimi nahitaji wawili.
Wewe pia. Hivi Pili alikuwa yazungumzia ukweli?
Ule. Wani?
Na anafanya nini pale na Patel?
Hata ninashangaa.
Usherekee kwa kuja kwa Sitara. My daughter. My daughter.
Welcome back to Prime Edition. Continue talking to us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1, at KBC Digital. Staying with the business news, Kenya is keen on cross-border collaborations that will unlock the green hydrogen potential. Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi says green hydrogen has immense power of positioning Kenya as a regional hub for clean energy, supporting industrial growth and creating jobs.
Kenya is positioning itself as a regional powerhouse for green hydrogen energy in efforts to decarbonize the country and accelerate the clean energy transition. With close to 60% of Kenya's electricity already generated from renewable energy sources, Energy Cabinet Secretary Opiyo Wandayi says the government is leveraging on strategic investment to unlock the green energy's full potential.
Development of a commercially viable green hydrogen economy no doubt requires substantial investments in enabling infrastructure, which includes accelerated deployment of renewable energy generation, expansion of transmission networks, development of water supply systems, port modernization, storage facilities, pipeline infrastructure, and transport corridors.
Energy sector players say green hydrogen energy faces various challenges such as high capital cost, inadequate infrastructural capacity, and policy gaps.
Kenya will not attract the level of investment to realize its vast portfolio by thinking in an isolated manner in terms of projects, but building this national pipeline and pitching it as an opportunity. And this is a way I see for us to work together and fundraise together collectively as an ecosystem.
Now, financing also remains one of the greatest challenges in this development. Now, green hydrogen projects are highly capital intensive, with long development timelines and evolving market structures.
Wandayi, however, says enhanced public-private partnerships and the cross-border collaborations are key in unlocking the green hydrogen potential.
My hope is that together we can pave the road for delivery. If we do, Kenya will be recognized not only for its clean electricity, but also for the clean industrial fuels the wider world will soon rely on. Germany is committed to walking that road alongside you.
John Kahiro for Prime Edition.
Across the borders, Taiwanese technology firm ASUS is set to tap into Kenya's booming AI-driven solutions market, aiming to expand its local footprint. And as speaking at the inaugural GTEx Kenya AI Summit in Nairobi, ASUS Middle East and Africa Regional Director Olga Odzdil lauded Kenya's technological growth as a cornerstone for future innovation and easier business operations.
Nairobi is hosting the first AI Everything event outside the United Arab Emirates. At the two-day event, AUS's Middle East and Africa Regional Director Ogla Ozil said Kenya is rapidly positioning itself as a hub for digital transformation, noting that the technology firm is keen on supporting the country.
Almost 98% of the people take care about, in charge of, look at about the AI features inside of internet inside Kenya. This is the highest rate inside the global. I think we are excited to see what we can do inside of Kenya together with the people.
At the GTEx Kenya AI Summit in Nairobi, technology firms are showcasing their innovations and AI-enabled products. Among them is the AI Expert Meet, which is a collaboration tool that uses artificial intelligence to simplify meetings through real-time transcriptions and summaries.
Expert Meet. You can easily record your meet and also change the language inside of our app. And all of our device, you are able to using offline AI features.
Cybersecurity dominated discussions, with experts warning businesses to invest heavily as artificial intelligence adoption grows.
The Kenyan market requires a lot of awareness, training, and we are here to help the Kenyan market adopt and adapt to better cybersecurity solution to protect their infrastructure, their data, and their entire infrastructure.
The three-day event gathered more than 400 government officials, investors, and industry leaders to explore Africa's AI future, digital infrastructure, and innovation economy. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
Adan Mohamed has been sworn in as the new Commissioner General of the Kenya Revenue Authority, taking over on a 3-year term amid pressure to boost domestic revenue mobilization. Mohamed takes over from Humphrey Watanga, who was nominated as Kenya's High Commissioner to South Africa. Kenya Revenue Authority Chairperson Diritu Muriithi said Adan is up to task and well equipped for the new role.
A modern revenue administration system must be more than just collecting taxes. It must support economic growth, facilitate trade and enterprise, and above all, it must deliver services that are efficient, fair, transparent, and predictable.
We are confident that together we shall deliver on the critical task of facilitating the citizens to finance the state, and to do so with the highest standards of service.
Family-owned businesses are booming globally, with 43% reporting double-digit sales growth last year, up from 21% in 2021. However, Stanbic Bank East Africa Regional Head of Business and Commercial Banking, Florence Wanja, is calling on family-owned businesses to strengthen trust, governance, cross-border expansion, succession planning, and capital growth capital. The businesses are key for employment, entrepreneurship, trade, innovation, and wealth creation.
We need to be able to actually bring in the right structures that ensures that these decisions are structured, risks are well managed, and businesses are positioned to endure.
We call Africa infrastructure. You know, what you call the ports, the rails, the airport, the grids. That's not really what infrastructure is in our continent. Actually, it's the family businesses that are connecting the dots of our markets, building on trust, which is what they do very well, and they are also being able to sustain by sacrifice. And we look at over generations, and finally, they are passed down of a legacy to the next generations.
And that insight and knowledge in terms of structure, in terms of trusts, foundations, things that I learned back then are what helped us govern and build the family enterprise to what it is today.
In a world where news is ever-changing, staying informed is more important than ever.
Join us every week on News Check, your go-to show for the latest in current affairs,
breaking news and in-depth analysis.
A warm welcome to KBC News Check.
From politics to global events, we bring you content that matter to you.
We're not just speaking about the governance and how we want to see it, but want to actually participate.
Get your facts, hear from the experts, and really understand what is happening around you.
We need to change our system first.
You have to do the impossible
to
make sure the message is home.
Stay ahead, stay informed, stay engaged.
Will these people, everybody agree?
Just listen to me.
Let's give him a chance to clear the air.
Catch News Check every Tuesday and Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Only on KBC Channel 1.
Let's now get sporty. Kenya Lionesses head coach Simon Odongo has named a formidable squad ahead of the 2026 Rugby Africa Cup Performance Division set to start this Saturday. The one-week tournament will feature hosts Kenya, defending champions South Africa, Uganda and Madagascar, who are expected in the country by tomorrow.
The squad will be co-captained by Natasha Emali and Judith Auma as the Lionesses seek to go one better after finishing second in the previous edition.
Training started earlier this year. That means we had a lot of time to build and gel as a team.
Another chance for us to fly the flag high for Kenya, and we'll be hosting the rest of Africa here. South Africa coming, who are the defending champions, our neighbors Uganda and Madagascar. So it has been a competitive period. We started preparations 4 months ago.
The forwards will be led by experienced Sheila Chajira, Naomi Amunguni, Naito Tuoma, Naomi Muhaji will be joined by, among others, Jen Chanya, Jacinta Musukari, Sheila Wekesa, Valentine Otieno, and Nelly Chikobe. The backs named in the squad also have world experience, led by top try scorer Janet Okello, backed by Judith Auma, Edith Nariaka, Maureen Muritu, Faith Livoy, Janet Okello, Sinaida Mokaya, Stella Wafula, and the reliable Freshia Odwor, with the youngsters Yvette Okage also back from injury.
We are well prepared. We are just from the camp yesterday, and I think we are very ready to the task ahead of us.
We tried our best to enable them to start training early because we know preparations and just them being able to gel as a team is very important in their performance.
Kenya will open its campaign against Uganda on Saturday, 23rd of May, before facing Madagascar 4 days later. They will face defending champion South Africa on the 31st of May.
Experienced Kenya Rugby Lionesses player Sheila Chijira will be the only African rugby personality athlete role model for this year's Dakar Youth Olympics following her appointment by the International Olympic Committee. The two-time Olympian, who is also a Kenya Harlequins coach, will mentor young athletes during the Games, hoping to inspire them to believe that the Olympic dream is achievable through hard work and determination. Chijira represented Kenya in the 2016 and 2020 Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro and Tokyo, respectively, in some of the proudest moments of her rugby career. She'll be featuring for the Kenya Lionesses this weekend in the Rugby Africa Women's Cup Performance Division at the RFUAR grounds, where the Kenyan team hopes to challenge South Africa's dominance in the tournament by dethroning them. Cape Town welcomes a new addition to its sporting calendar with the inaugural Nelson Mandela Marathon set to be held on the 18th of October this year to honor the late former South Africa president's belief in the power of sport to change the world. The event, organized by Golazo in partnership with the Nelson Mandela Foundation, will feature 20,000 runners on a 42-kilometer journey through the heart of Cape Town. There will also be a 21-kilometer slave route challenge half marathon, a 10-kilometer and 5-kilometer run and walk races in designated routes depicting the history of slavery and South Africa's long walk to freedom. 4 of Africa's greatest distant athletes have been named as ambassadors, including Dr. Paul Tergat, who is a former world marathon record holder, as well as 5-time world cross-country champion, and Catherine Dereba, a former 2-time world marathon champion and Olympic silver medalist. South Africa's long-distance runner Henrik Ramala and middle-distance young talent Prudence Sekgodiso have also been enlisted. Basco Paints has officially launched the Duracourt Golf Masters Series 2026, a premier national golf circuit aimed at growing the game of golf in Kenya, nurturing emerging talent and strengthening the country's sporting ecosystem. The Golf Master Series 2026 will feature 12 qualifying tournaments hosted across selected premier golf clubs in Kenya, with golfers allowed to compete in up to 3 qualifying events. The events will officially tee off on Friday this week at various clubs across the country, which include, among others, Vetlab Sports Club, Nakuru Golf Club, Nanyuki Sports Club, Karen Country Club, Ruiru Sports Club, Nyanza Sports Club, and Nyali Country Club. The grand finale will be held on the 28th of November at Mount Kipipiri Golf Club. Speaking during the launch, Basco Paints Managing Director Mr. Kamlesh Shah described the series as a strategic platform designed to promote sportsmanship, competitiveness, youth empowerment, and talent development through a structured and inclusive national golf circuit.
It is a huge tournament for golfers, a huge tournament, of course, and a huge proud moment for all of us to be able to launch and to mute such an event.
We look forward when we have the budget ready for developing the curriculum in school, that we can work together with them in this journey going forward and giving back to the society.
Swimmers at Visa Dolphin Swim Club have stepped up preparations with intense training sessions aimed at sharpening speed, endurance, and technique ahead of the Kiambu Aquatics Invitational Championship. Under the guidance of head coach Japhet Onkoba, the swimmers have been undergoing rigorous drills morning and evening, focusing on race pace, turns, and team coordination as they seek to make a strong impression at the championship. Coach Onkoba expressed confidence in the squad's readiness, noting that the athletes have shown commitment and discipline throughout the training period. Now, this is one of the reasons why some of my colleagues are having the Arsenal jersey on a day that we're celebrating International HR Day, and we're supposed to support our colleagues with a touch of orange and formal wear. Arsenal clinched the English Premier League title for the first time in 20 City, on the other hand, will however not end the season empty-handed, having won the FA.
Acrobatic, and against the post, extraordinary. Haaland has done it.
Arsenal fans are saying, Muchuma, you cannot congratulate us. Congratulations to Arsenal fans. You have made some effort. 22 years is not a walk in the park. Well done. And keep on keeping on. And on that note, we've come to the end of Prime Edition. Thank you for your feedback on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1, at KBC Digital. I am Muchuma Odim. Our sign language expert tonight is Lucy Mwaura, on behalf of the entire team behind this production, being led by Hemston, the director behind the scenes. Thank you and good night. God bless.
morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.